Water and Sewer System Commission meeting to order. Appreciate everybody coming. Appreciate the help with the video conferencing. Hopefully everybody that's attending with us virtually will be able to hear us and understand us, and appreciate your participation. Second item on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The agenda is approved. We also have the approval of the minutes from the regular meeting of February 12th and the public meeting February 25th. We'll take those together unless there's a desire to separate them. I believe everybody got a copy of those in your packet. And
Motion to approve, Mr. Chair.
Second.
second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Those minutes are approved. Thank you. Item number 4, update on the 208 plan amendment and wastewater treatment plant. And Chris, you going to do that, or Ty, you going to do it?
Yeah, I think both of us are going to do that. I'll go ahead and get started. We are, continuing to work forward toward getting approval through the COG. We've got 2 meetings we got to get through. One with the EPAC committee, it was environmental planning committee, and then followed by the full COG board. We have been working with an engineering firm, Thomas and Hutton, to put together the PER. And after we got into the process, we realized that the COG process is both a political and a technical event, and we felt like we probably need some political support within on the COG side. Thomas and Hutton is a really good firm, and they've done a few wastewater treatment plants before. We thought we might need some assistance from another firm that had, maybe some local knowledge of the Midlands. So we're talking to another firm that does consulting as well as design, and it has maybe a little bit of political expertise in the local political expertise. Elaborate on that any or?
To the best of my knowledge, members of the commission as well, the American Engineering has actually gone before the EPAC committee at least 4 times, whereas I believe Thomas and Hutton has never gone to this EPAC committee in the Central Midlands COG. So we have an engineering group that has a significant amount of experience that we're putting forward, or that is being put forward.
And this 208 plan that we're getting them to approve, that's kind of just the change in the boundaries, isn't it? Or is that actually naming a spot where we want to put the wastewater treatment plant?
There are 2 amendments, and we are selecting American for the actual treatment, wastewater treatment plant.
Okay.
The separate amendment that will go forward with the boundaries, we can move forward with that. We were thinking of moving the 2 of them together because of the COVID issue. We just thought we could get them both, carried through that. That is not the case now.
Okay.
So we're going to split. We're going to split the 2 and have the EPAC and or the COG go through and look at the territories, and then we're going to do the PER, and the American Engineering, they're going to basically do almost a peer review of the PER.
This is very confusing.
This is,
yeah.
Is there any way we can stop with the feedback? It is terrible.
How's that?
Thank you.
Okay.
That's perfect.
That's better.
Sorry for that, anybody watching at home.
The 2 requests, the 2 plan amendments, one of them will be just the territory. Just realigning the territory so that now the joint system has a territory. We can proceed with that, and we don't really need American Engineering for that request.
Correct.
Everything that's been done, it's all complete. Even the plan amendment request, we've already put that together. We were prepared to go forward with that, but then we felt that the PR was far enough, or so we thought, that we could actually bring the additional component to the plan request, which is the new wastewater treatment plant. We felt that we did, or that we could have brought that forward as well. Then as we've been looking at it, a lot more questions have come up. We felt like, okay, this is really sort of getting out of hand in some respects, and we need some people who have that local experience with the EPAC committee and really understand, looking more into the PER. We felt like some of the 208 plan amendment requests were not fully being addressed in that. That's part of the problem, that a PER is the engineering document. The plan requests is are you meeting the political intent of this 208 plan, this water quality plan? And that's where we felt that the PER wasn't really addressing everything that it needed to. Because it's subtle nuances, but they're asking for more than just the PER, more than just about what are you proposing for that plant in particular, and what is the engineered solution. It's a lot broader, and why is that going to work in this particular environment, in the Central Midlands COG, and taking everything into consideration. So it's very close. We felt like we needed that additional expertise to really put it over the top.
And I concur with that. I mean, obviously, I think Richland County Council came out against our wastewater treatment plant, which was very disappointing. And of course, that's Joyce Dickerson's district up in northern Richland County, where that Cedar Creek flows through, and she has some real questions about it. And I think we're going to have somebody help us do a real good education of these people in those positions to make them understand the sophistication of the wastewater treatment plant and the minimal impact and negligible impact that it'll have on the environment. I think a lot of this is an emotional issue. But I think we've got to have some folks to educate these people in Richland County, the citizens and the politicians there, to make them understand that we're not trying to do anything detrimental to the environment, and it really is not going to be as bad as I think everybody has it pictured in their minds. So I think that's a good thing to do.
It's true.
Any other questions or comments?
Do you all want to do any update on the land that we are moving in to a potential purchase on that shortly?
Yeah, I'd be happy to address that. We are, I think, very close to a final agreement with the land seller. I think it'll be hopefully by the end of the month, we should have the property under contract, if not sooner. Have it under contract and move forward. We are currently doing doing due diligence. For instance, we've got ordered, and a phase one is underway now. Hired the surveyor to go ahead and survey the property and do the topographical survey. So that'll help the engineers when they lay the plant out on the property. Getting the title work is being done. That's pretty much it for the due diligence that we've got going on right now. So we're moving forward. As soon as we have it under contract, it won't take long to close on it and keep going.
Good, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, item 5, resolution number 2020-03, engagement of American Engineering Consultants. I believe everybody got a copy of that. Their packet, and that is to engage American Engineering to provide professional services related to the amendment of the Central Midlands 208 Water Quality Plan and other matters relating thereto.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve resolution number 2020-03.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Is there any discussion on that resolution, questions or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That resolution is approved. Thank you. Item number 6, resolution number 2020-04, engagement of Willoughby and Hofer, PA. That's engagement of attorney to provide legal services related to the amendment of the Central Midlands 208 Water Quality Plan and other matters relating thereto. A lot of that was discussed in the previous discussion that Ty and Chris gave us.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion, resolution number 2020-04 is
Second.
Second. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, this is
Aye.
CD.
Opposed? That's approved also. Thank you very much. Item number 7, resolution number 2020-05, approval of agreements to share costs and first supplement to agreement to share cost between the Fairfield Joint Water and Sewer System, Fairfield County and Town of Winsboro, and other matters related to there too.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion approval of resolution number 2020-05 also.
Thank you. Is there a second to that resolution?
And
Discussion?
if we could just get CD to give us a brief description if possible.
CD, can you give us some input on that?
Sure. Can y'all hear me?
Can.
Okay. So the way that this was set up initially when we created the joint system, our engagement letter with the joint system was consented to by the county and the town, and we kind of carried forward the arrangement that had been entered into for all the work that we did prior to its formal creation, where the county was covering 75% of the costs of the joint system and the town was covering 25%. Of course, to date, the cost of the joint system have effectively just been my fees. And so they've been fairly minimal. It's been one bill. We send a bill to the town, we send a bill to the county, and everything gets paid, and it's worked just fine. We are entering a different phase of this thing now. As Ty and Chris discussed, there's a real need for the joint system to bring in some additional professionals who are on the engineering side, who are more familiar with this EPAC and the 208 process than maybe Thomas and Hutton. And on the legal side, folks who are more familiar with the 208 process and with some of the underlying environmental law, permitting, things like that, than our firm is. We do local government work. We don't really do environmental permitting and things like that. And so as we bring in American Engineering, as we bring in Willoughby and Hafer to provide those services, we really need to formalize some of these arrangements by which the costs of the joint system are being met. Of course, we also have the prospect of Ridgeway joining the joint system at some point in time, which will also require kind of formalizing how these costs are met. So that's what this initial agreement to share costs does. It is a three-part agreement or a three-way agreement between the joint system, Fairfield County, and the town of Winsboro. It relies on some authorizations in the Joint Water and Sewer Systems Act, which create a binding obligation to, or at least allow local governments to create a binding obligation to pay administrative costs of a joint system, and that's what this does. And it carries forward that prior arrangement whereby the county was paying 75% and the town, Winsboro, is paying 25%. If we bring Ridgeway into the joint system at some point in time in the future, hopefully the near future, then we'll amend it to get to allocate a portion of those costs to them as well. So the cost sharing agreement is intended to take care of the general administrative costs of the joint system for the time being. And realistically or practically, that is going to continue to be my firm's fees. The supplement, so the joint system does authorize supplements to deal with specific costs that might arise from time to time. And in this particular case, those specific costs are these additional fees of American Engineering and Willoughby and Hafer. The county is going to cover the entirety of those fees. And so we really need, obviously, some supplement, some way to memorialize that special arrangement as to these particular fees. If we need to bring in some additional professionals at some point in time, and we need to have another special arrangement that falls outside of the cut that's in the cost sharing agreement, then we'll deal with that when it comes up. But this is one that obviously, as we bring these folks in and as they start doing work, we needed to make sure we had a very clear-cut way to handle those fees.
Thank you. Any other questions for CD?
So let me just clarify one more point. This is the first step for this cost sharing agreement. It's going to also need to be adopted by the county and by the town. And so we'll get y'all ordinances to get that on your agendas and get that moving along.
Thank you. Questions from anybody else? No further discussion. We have a motion and a second for resolution number 2020-05, approval of agreement to share costs for the first supplement. Agreement to share costs. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? It's approved. Thank you for that explanation, CD. Item number 8. Need to go into executive session to discuss some legal and contractual arrangements with attorney-client privilege with Central Midlands 208 Water Quality Plan, and also arrangements regarding the purchase of the proposed site of the wastewater treatment plant. Motion that we go into executive session.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're now in executive session. Matters about the wastewater treatment plant and the purchase of property. All that information, all that discussion was accepted as information. There's no motions that need to be made out of executive session. So we're down to the last item on the agenda, which is adjournment, and I don't know where we are about scheduling any future meetings, or maybe you can have any insight about what we need to do about the 208 plan, if we need to meet before the committee at the COG.
The next EPAC meeting would be July. It's the second, third Wednesday. No,
Yeah, it's the last, so it's the
Wednesday,
EPAC is the third.
21st or
Yeah.
something like that. Anyway, but that would be the first opportunity we could have to bring the amendment to the locations, or rather
Territorial.
territory. Thank you, sir. But then from there, they do not have a COG board meeting in July, to the best of my knowledge, so that would not be heard until August for the board, which ultimately would vote in favor or opposed to it.
And that alteration in the 208 is just changing the lines. That's not about the location of the wastewater treatment plant, correct?
Yes, that's just territory. I don't know if we
The
want to.
territory thing, I mean, that's a pretty benign thing, you would think.
It is. I don't know if we want to go with passing that over, though, to Willoughby and, how do you pronounce that?
Hafer.
Hafer.
Hoffer.
Hafer.
Though, just so they can bless it before we go forward, that might be prudent. But of
Yeah,
course-
I would strongly recommend that.
I think that makes sense.
That's why we've got them around.
So I think we'll certainly ought to meet, but sometime between the EPAC board meeting and the COG board meeting in August. Anybody have a preference?
I'm open.
I'll make myself available.
Well, hold on. Conference is August 1st through the
Eddie,
5th.
when is the conference?
First part of
Over the summer.
Last week of July.
That ought to be good for me. That last Thursday in July,
30th.
30th.
Yes, sir.
Anybody have a conflict with that? Not, we'll tentatively schedule it for them. Suits everybody.
5:30 was our normal time, 5 or 5:30? Was it 5:30. This works better. I was thinking the first meetings were at 5 and it was a bit of
I mean,
a hustle to get out here by 5.
at that point in time, I think I was working on Thursdays.
Mm-hmm.
The virus, we cut back, so
Yeah.
I can meet it. It's been done for my convenience, honestly, but no problem meeting at 5. I can meet any.
5:30 works better for me, if that's okay.
Fine. I mean, that's fine. Time.
At some point, we're gonna go back to the office, I assume.
Still are in the office working?
Not yet.
Well, that's good. And we'll plan on July 30th, 5:30.
Sounds good.
Any other business that needs to be brought up?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Y'all.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
20-second delay.